If you liked the video, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Hello, my friends. Hey, question. Does the thought of using After Effects in your Premiere projects scare you? Well, if you're that person, let's talk about what you could actually get away with in Premiere. We're going to use the Essential Graphics panel today and show you somewhat of a complex but doable motion graphics little animation in Premiere Pro, like the one you just saw. So welcome to Pull My Focus Adventures in the World of Digital Filmmaking, where we bring you the inside tips on making great digital video. So just a heads up, this is, if you've looked at the timeline down there, a bit of a long video. It's not my longest. I think my longest video was like an hour and 45 minutes. This is a bit of a long video. It's about 45 minutes or 40 minutes-ish. It's separated into 3 parts. So the first part, we go over creating text in the Essential Graphics panel and some of the attributes that you can find and how to move anchor points, which is very important for scaling and rotation of that text. The next part we go into is creating another part of the effect where you're nesting and changing colors and using cropping and basic effects, basic transitions in Premiere to get away with this certain effect that we're doing, okay? That's the second part. And the third part will be the creative way we mask the text and then scale up the text. So I will put the timelines in the description below so you can jump to each one. But if you want to just go along with the whole thing, go for it. All right, without further ado. All right, so let's get started at some motion graphics in Premiere. Now, one thing I want to say is After Effects is a great compositing program. In fact, After Effects is a great program for doing motion graphics and all this neat stuff. Premiere is a great program for editing. Each one has its strengths. So where I could edit a video in After Effects, I'm probably going to use Premiere for that. And where I could create stunning motion graphics in Premiere, if you learn After Effects, you can get away with a lot more. But Adobe was cool enough to give us the Essential Graphics panel, which can do some things. So we're going to go from the simple to the more hacky to get through this thing. But hopefully you can come away with some tools and techniques at using the Essential Graphics panel. Let's get started. We don't have a lot of time. First things first, let's just review. This is the open that we are going to be emulating, right? So it's Mary Tyler Moore show, right? So what I want to do is, first things first, is get these words to flow in left aligned, center aligned, and right aligned as they scale into the frame, okay? So let's just start with typing text. So once I hit text, by the way, I am in the graphics workspace here. So if you're in the editing workspace right now, just click on graphics. And then as another measure, hit the little sandwich menu there and go reset to save layout. And that will put you pretty much in the same space as me. And it's going to pretty much be like editing, except you'll have the Essential Graphics panel up. Okay, so I'm going to just start off with typing some text. I'm on a blank timeline. I'm going to type pull. Great. All right, so let's go get the right font. And we're going to link to the font in the description below, but this is the font we're using for this. Now, when you start Essential Graphics, you'll have all these neat little things. And the simplest of them is appearance. So if I want to change the color of this font, I'm just going to click on the fill and give it a color. And we're going to give it a kind of a yellowish orange color that's similar to the text in the video. Great. Now we want to check out how it's scaled. Okay, so the reason I'm just going to start with pull and I'm not going to start with the whole sentence is each word needs its own anchor point, as you can see. And an anchor point is basically the point at which text or at which the text transformations happen around. So if I select this, if I use my selection tool here, it shows me the anchor point is this circle here, is this circle square here. And that's where all my transformations are going to happen, i.e. my rotation. So you see I rotate around that point. My scales will scale from that point. So I can move this around manually if I want, but right now I'm not going to move it around manually. You can move it wherever you want. As you can see, it's updating. But right now, I'm going to use my text alignment tools. So I can hit, if I hit center, it's in the center. If I hit right, it's in the right. I'm going to hit left for this guy. And I'm going to use the baseline shift here to shift it up and down. This gives me a more precise control. I'm going to put it right in the middle. Great. And now I can move the text using these two guys, align and transform. This is your horizontal alignment. This is your vertical alignment. Align and transform, I'm going to move it over here. Now we need my focus. So I'm going to duplicate, right click and duplicate, pull, okay? And you didn't notice it, but whenever you duplicate a thing or add a layer in Essential Graphics, it adds it to the top. So I like to read them from top down though. I don't like to read them from bottom up. So I'm going to click on this guy and move him over and double click him and make him my. That'll be the my. But I also have to update, I'm going to click on this, that anchor point. I'm going to make the anchor point the center. Beautiful. And I'm going to move him over a little more. And now if I want to, I can use this horizontal center feature here to just center it horizontally in the frame. And then we're going to duplicate it again. Right click, duplicate. Notice how I put another my up the top. I'm going to drag that down. I just have to read it like this. I don't know why. And then we're going to move it over. And this will be focus. If I double click, focus. And now notice that anchor point is in the center because I copied this one. We're going to move the anchor point over right there. Now it's over here. Now I have to move this guy over a little more. So now we've got pull, my focus. I'm going to move pull a little over. And as you can see, our anchor points are correct. And when I scale, if I use this scale tool here, it scales just like in the video. Great. Okay. So now we're going to set keyframes for doing this scaling. So I'm going to come over to, now I can do them all here, but I can only see my keyframes in my effects controls. So when I go to my effects controls, notice we have vector motion, which is the entire frame. And then we have, this is the vector motion means the transformations and stuff for the entire clip, which includes everything. Okay, so if I scale on this, I'm scaling the entire clip. We don't want to do that. We want to only scale the text one at a time. So if I twiddle down my pull and come down to scale, okay, I want to end at 100%. So check this out. Here's what I do. I move my cursor somewhere in the future and I hit a keyframe. And then I go backwards in time and I'm going to increase the scale to, I don't know, 5,000. Too big. Oh, I think it maxed out at 4,000 actually. It's still too big. I'm gonna go 2,000. Okay, let's do 2,000. Great. That means this will go, whee, boom, just like we need it to. It scales down to the anchor point, which is right there. Okay. Now we're gonna do this pretty quick. I'm not gonna get into the details of it, just till we can get through it. There's pull. Okay, but the problem is my and focus are visible. I can see them. So what I want to do is, actually, here's what I can do. You can grab all your keyframes for pull, and I'm going to pull it over to like the beginning of the clip. Okay, so that when this clip starts, it starts there, pull. But I don't want my to show up until pull is done. So I'm going to, if you use these little keyframe navigation tools, you can go from the beginning to the end, yeah? I'm gonna move over a frame by pressing right arrow on the keyboard, and then we're gonna take a look at my. We'll twiddle down my, here's my right here. Okay, I want it to be visible now. I don't want it to be visible until it's ready to be shown. So that's opacity. So I'm gonna set a keyframe for opacity for 100% here, but I'm gonna go back one frame and set opacity to 0. And that's all I had to do. Notice, now that we did that, you have pull, and then my shows up. Now we just have to do the scaling for my. Okay, so scaling for my, once again, is the same thing. We're going to start. Okay, so I'm going to go scale here, and then we'll move forward in time. I'm going to add another keyframe. I can add a keyframe even if I haven't changed this. I can always add a keyframe by clicking this little dot here. That'll add it no matter what. Nothing has changed, but it'll give me my keyframe. And then if I go back, I can set this to, what was it? It was 2000. And so this way, pull my, notice how pull my, and we do the same thing with focus. So I don't want focus to show up until one frame after my is done. So I can walk over to that one. I can use my keyboard, go one more, twiddle down focus, set the opacity here to 100, come back one, set the opacity at 0. And then we're going to set the scale. So let's do scale. And if I'm going too fast, this is just because I have to get through a lot of stuff, but it's the same procedure for all 3 words. I'm being kind of rough at it, but it's the same procedure from 100 to 100, but I actually want to do from 2000 to 100. And now we end up with pull my focus. Boom. All right. Now you can ease these in if you like. If I wanted to do this, I can right click on this keyframe and go ease out. Okay. And I can do that to each one of these ease out beginning keyframes for the scale. Ease out, which will make it look a little nicer when they come out. Now it's smoother. Okay, and I can have it ease in on each one also. Ease in and ease in. And it's relative to the keyframe you're coming to. You ease into the keyframe. You ease out of a keyframe. Some people get that actually backwards. I used to get that backwards all the time. Nice and soft. Great. All right. Now that we got that part done, we'll take a quick intermission and do the next part. Welcome back, part 2. We're gonna make our rainbow of colors of pull my focuses. And that is looking like this, where it goes zoo. All right. Let's see how quickly we can knock this out. So I need another pull my focus right now. So what I did while we were away was I just added 2 color mats, a blue color mat here, a black color mat there, and one fades into the other to emulate the fade that happens behind the text in the actual video. I'm gonna grab this, pull my focus, because I need this. I need to duplicate this a bunch of times. So I'm gonna hold down my Option key or an Alt if I'm on a PC, and I'm gonna drag it over. That makes me a nice copy. All right, I don't need this motion anymore, this pull my focus motion. So one way I can get rid of it is I can just not use that clip. I can just size the clip down to here, okay? You could do that. I tend not to like to do that because then that means there's elements in there that I'm not aware of that could bite me in the butt later. So what I tend to do is I'll go in, right, click this, and actually I'm gonna get rid of the those keyframes. If you click on the stopwatch again for each bit, there it is. It will say, Premiere will say, this will delete all existing keyframes. You want to continue? I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to go down. Now, like I said, you don't have to do this. I do this because it keeps my project nice and clean. And if I had the forethought to do this before I did the moves, I would have copied the clip before I did the keyframes. But now, and I'm going to make sure that these are all reset. All right, looks like focus is not reset, and see how the scale is on 18. There we go. All right, we're going to nest this guy, believe it or not. First thing we're going to do is going to nest it. It's one clip though. What are you nesting? Yep, I'm nesting one clip. I'm going to hit next, and I'm nesting. I'm going to call it word nest top. Now it's nested. When we double click it, we're in another sequence which only has the one thing. Okay. Now I'm going to need how many of these? 5 of these? I think. If we look at this, there's a blue, a purple, a red, orange, and then a final yellow, okay, on the top and the bottom. Great. So let's duplicate these, all right? If I hold down my Alt on my Option key, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great, but it still looks like 1. It's because I haven't changed the position yet. So let's go from the middle, okay? And let's keep the middle one at the middle, and then we're gonna take this next one and we're going to move it. Now, I'm gonna move just the one word. I'm gonna move the entire clip. So if I move just the one word, if I did position on, say, pull, that's what it'll look like. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna undo that. That's where I'm gonna twiddle these down so it's clear for you guys. I'm gonna go to the vector motion, which is the top, and that's the entire frame. If I twiddle down vector motion, I have position, and here, my friends, is the vertical position. So I can go like that, boop, and we're just gonna make it look rough. I know the F's are kind of banging up against each other, and we're gonna come to this guy and we're gonna move him up, and we'll come to this guy, move him all the way up. Great. And then I think it's this guy, and move him all the way down. All right. So we end up with, and they are in the right order on the thing there. All right. Great, that's done. Now here's what I want to do. I want to come back to my main timeline, and I'm going to check this out. This is a neat little feature here. I want to duplicate this, but if I simply duplicate it, everything I do inside of it is going to change anywhere I use the next nest. So I want to right click this nest, say reveal in project, and this will find it for you. Boom. It found it right there. Word nest top. Here, I'm going to say duplicate. This actually makes a copy. Notice it even says copy one. So anything I do within this nest will not affect the first nest. If that makes sense. If you simply copy it on the timeline, you're making an exact duplicate on the timeline. So if you mess with it inside, the other one gets messed with. It's a distinction that's very important. I'm going to rename this to word nest bottom. Okay. And now I'm going to bring this onto the timeline. Notice it brings it on with audio because it's a nest. I don't need the audio. I'm going to unlink this. Okay. And then get rid of the audio. So now I have word nest top and word nest bottom. Here, let's double click both of these so they're nice and big. All right. Now on the top, here's what we're going to do. We go inside of it. We have to make those colors, these pretty colors. And what's great is that they did this optically, which means that all they did was manipulate the hue on each one. That's how they got the different colors. So we can do the exact same thing. So that first color up at the top is going to be blue, then purple, then red. So let's try this. I'm going to go to my effects and look up an effect called color HLS. I can go HLS. And here's color HLS. HLS stands for hue, luminance, and saturation. And I'm going to apply it to the top one because that one should be blue. All right. So we have, here, I'm going to twiddle these down. I'm constantly twiddling these down because it makes it very simple to see what's there. There's my HLS, right? If I open that up, now I can manipulate, let me show you guys, manipulate the hue. Let's zoom out a little bit. If I manipulate the hue on this guy, let's zoom out all the way. Look at that. I can get that nice blue. All right. Now I want to take this same blue has to be the bottom on the other one. So I'm going to copy this by hitting Command C and go to my the bottom nest. So here's the top nest. Here's the bottom nest. All right. So I'll highlight that guy and just hit paste. And that pastes it right there onto that one. I do the same thing for the next color. All right. I drop my HLS there. Manipulate the hue to the purple. There's something like a purple there. All right. Copy. go to my bottom, and paste. And now I'm coming up with this. I'll speed up the video so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. All right, there we go. Now we have a word nest top that is yellow all the way up through the range, and then we have a bottom which is yellow all the way down through the range. And the way this is we're gonna use this is on the main timeline. We have these nice two nests now. On the main timeline, we're gonna use, and here's where I have to get creative about we're gonna zoom all the way out by hitting the slash key. And here I'm gonna bring these two guys up. Oh, there's only one clip here. I'm gonna move it up. And you can also move things up by holding the Option or the Alt key and moving the up arrow or down arrow accordingly. It moves it to different layers. Let's twiddle these down. So we have pull, my, focus, fade to black, and at this point we should get our new colors kind of spreading out from the center. All right. Now they're not spreading out from the center yet. They don't have animation. I'm gonna put them so that their final location is set. So this first one, the top, I'm gonna come up to motion, and I'm gonna change the position, the vertical position, right, so that it sits up here. And then the bottom one, I'm gonna change the vertical position so that it sits down here. And there we go. Right? Now we just have to transition into that position, and to do that, I'm going to use a push effect that's built into Premiere. I'm not using any special plugins to do this. This is why it's a little trickier when you don't use special plugins. I'm going to use a push effect on each clip. I'm going to push them into their location. So we're going to come to our effects and we're going to go push. And here we are. We have push right here. Okay. And I'm going to use a bunch of shortcuts here. I'm going to set this as my default transition. Great. And then I have track targeting on all these tracks. All right. So normally it would look something like this, but I'm going to target V1 through V5. That means when I highlight all these and hit Command D, all right, I think it's Control D on the PC, I'm not sure. That gives me a setup here. Now, the only problem is it's coming in the wrong way. So now I have to still go into each one and tell it, these are going to go up. 1, 2, and the thing is you can't set a default direction for these built-in plugins of push. You can only kind of set other things. So there we go. Zip. Great. And I don't need these at the end, so I can just highlight them and delete them. I don't need them at the end. All right. But now what's cool is doing that. If we look back at our first timeline, boom, those are coming in. All right. We do have to fix this one little issue here, but let's do the same thing to the other thing. Now, okay, so let's do the same thing here. We're here. We're going to drag our push, highlight it. This time I'm going to preset the direction to north to south. All right, I'm going to turn this off so you can see it's north to south. It's which way we're going to go. Once that's done for one of them, okay, I can copy that. And then with my track targeting on all the tracks that I want to paste this onto, V1 through 4, I can do that, move my cursor to the beginning, paste, and then they're all in there. So that's a little shortcut that would come in handy too. You can always copy transitions and then you can always paste them down. As long as you have the targeting track highlighted and you scroll to the beginning or the end, it can do it there. So now here's where we are. We have zoom. Now you notice it's bleeding out. Here's why we put the pushes inside the nest. That's so I can put a crop on the outside of the nest. So I'm going to go to crop, and I'm going to crop both of these. So I'm going to drag crop to the top one. All right. And if you notice, if I click crop, you'll see the bounds of the cropping tool. See how it crops all that? I want to put that right in the middle. This is the bottom. This would be the bottom of the crop. Notice that the bottom is here. This will be the bottom of the crop. Boom, right there. I want to do the same thing to the bottom part. So I'm cropping out. If I click crop again on the bottom, okay, this is the top. I'm cropping out everything in the frame except that, so that it looks like this. It looks like they're pouring out from the middle, and that's what we want. All right, so we have so far pull my focus, and then a nice little boom. Take a break, part 3 coming up. All right, here we are for the final part 3 of the copying of Mary Tyler Moore's opening in motion graphics. This is where it gets a little hacky. Now, Premiere doesn't handle masking and alpha in the same way that After Effects does. It handles it, but not at such a deep level. So we have to kind of do some tricks to make up for this. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So what we're emulating at this point, we're here. We've already got the pull my focus and the color rainbow coming out. And now we want to emulate this last bit where, notice there's a mask there now. You can see the video through the text. And then we zoom out to find Mary. All right. We have to get a little tricky here. Now, there is an option in the Essential Graphics panel to mask with text. And I want to show you that really quick. We can't use that option here though, but I want to show it to you because it's really kind of cool. So if I write some text, here's a new text layer. Okay, great, add a new text layer. There's an option here called mask with text. So if I add from file, I'm gonna grab a file. All right, and we find the theme, that open, we can drop that in as a layer. Okay, and we're gonna make sure, remember, every time it brings in new layers, it puts it on top. We wanna put it on the bottom of this. Now check this out. This text, all I have to do is say mask with text. I have this highlighted. I say mask with text. Boom. And if I scroll through, you'll see the video playing behind it. See that? That is a great feature. The video's playing behind it. Terrific feature if that's all you need to do. And there are no other layers that you're dealing with really. But once you get into multiple layers, or if you try and create three layers like we did with Pull My Focus, and then mask those with text, it falls apart, it doesn't work. It's only gonna work in this very simple level. So if this is something you need to do, that's great. We can't use this, this is why we can't use this method. And I'll show you the method of what we have to do. We have to get really tricky and kind of hacky, but we'll show you. All right, once this is played out, let's see, let's let it play for a second. Boom, right here, let's say here is where the middle part should show up as a mask. All right, so I'm going to bring everything down to that point there. Actually, I'm gonna keep these guys. Those stretch out, okay? And I'm also I'm gonna move this up. That was the option up or alt up when I've highlighted those guys. Remember I told you you can move those around with those keys. And let's go back to our bin and let's find that open. That should be in my videos directory here. And my B-roll, where is it? YouTube captures, there we go. And let's just drop that here. And what I wanna do is, here we go. Good, there's Mary. Hey, Mary. So Mary's gonna show up here. I'm gonna mute that track so I don't get a copyright violation. So Mary will show up here. In fact, she's not quite big enough. She's not filling the frame. I'm gonna right click this clip and go to scale to frame size, which brings it up to our frame size. And this has to extend all the way here. Remember, this is our middle. That's our middle element. The other two are our outside and our top and bottom elements. Okay, so our middle element at this point now, once this video comes in, I'm gonna add an effect called track mask. track matte key, which is in the keying section. We drag track matte key to the video footage layer. Now it shows up here, and in here I can tell it, okay, where is our matte? And it looks at all the video levels and says, okay, these are all the things on the timeline you can use as a matte. We want to use numbers 5 because this text is now going to become our matte on 5. So I'm going to come over to track matte from this clip and say use 5. And that's it. I can say matte alpha or matte luma. What I'm probably going to use is matte alpha. Okay, matte luma means base it off the base it off the intensity of the brightness. Alpha means use it as an alpha layer. Okay. Boom. We're pretty much almost done. There's Mary, and she's playing in the background of that matte. Now the hacky part here is the zoom. The zoom we have to do is going to be tricky because the entire frame has to zoom. And I've tried many things. I've tried multiple nests with the nests and mats and layers. None of it worked. If anybody out there knows how to pull this effect off in a different way than I'm going to show you now, throw it in the comments below. Maybe we'll send you a prize. But once again, this is the kind of thing that's better for After Effects, but we can get around it by being a little creative. So we want to zoom. Let's find out where we want to be. We want the zoom maybe to start there, right? Comes in, the zoom should start here. Okay, so first thing I have to do is I'm going to zoom my text here. Okay, so I'm going to set a key point. I'm no longer dealing with individual words, so I'm never going to set the scales on the individual words anymore. I'm going to use the vector motion. And I'm going to set a scale key point here to start. And then I'm going to move ahead in time, and maybe we'll do like scale 10,000. Boom. And that, well, this is one of the issues, right? When we do zoom in, we're zooming into kind of darkness, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to set our anchor point first. Let's take a look at where our anchor point is. Anchor point right now is in the middle of black, and we don't want to do that. We want to use one of the letters to zoom into. So I'm going to move this anchor point to right in the middle of the M, because that's what we want to zoom into, because we eventually want to discover the mask behind it. All right. So now that we have our anchor point set there, I'm going to do something sneaky. I'm going to mark where this anchor point lives. So as you notice, you might have noticed I have these safety margins on, and that's on through this wrench, the settings in the program monitor. If I click settings, right, I can turn on safety margins right here. I can turn them off and turn them on. I have them usually when I'm doing motion graphics. I have the safety margins on so I can see where my center is and everything. But I also have rulers on, and rulers is also set here. So it's a show rulers and show guides. I want these to be on. Show rulers and show guides should have check marks because I'm going to create some guides. And you create a guide by, when I bring the cursor up into the ruler area, it shows me this thing, which allows me to hold the button down and drag a guide out. It's just like Photoshop or Illustrator, if you've used those. I can do the same thing on this side. All right, boom. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm creating a point that I can base these other two zooms off of. Okay, so now when I zoom, I'm going to set a scale, set a keyframe here for 100, and then scroll forward in time, and then set a keyframe of 10,000. Boom. Now you can see it's full screen. So boom, we have zoomed, pull my focus in the middle, and it's really fast. So what I can do is I can back this up a little bit. When you spread them out a little bit, they take longer. Great. But not everything else is being zoomed. So here's where I need to get tricky. I'm going to go to the beginning of this text zoom, right? I'm going to go to the beginning of this clip. I'm going to come to this clip here, which is the top the top, right? And I'm gonna set the anchor point for the top by clicking anchor point and then seeing where the anchor point on this lives. And the anchor point for this lives way up here. So let's drag this anchor point. This is the time where I'm actually gonna manually drag the anchor point to there, okay? And I just eyeball it. So now when I scale this, it will scale based on the same anchor point that the middle is using, okay? And since we're here, I can say scale, set a keyframe, all right? I gotta go look at what the end result is on this one. And this is where we're getting creative. We're gonna come back to the middle text. We're gonna move over to that last frame right there. And then we're gonna click on our text that we're working with, the big group of text, and we're going to set that I-beam stays there. We're gonna set this to 10,000. And so when you watch, it looks like it's scrolling, it's scaling with it. It looks like it's scaling with it perfectly. All right. It may be a little off, but optically it looks right. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the bottom. So check this out. I go back to my middle clip, yeah? I move my cursor to the beginning. I click on the bottom. I fix the anchor point, which is living right here now, to my guides. Boom. I set my scale at 100. Where's the end? The end, I can click on my middle text and move to the end point. Come back here and set it. 10,000. This is where it gets a little hacky, but this is definitely a workaround for some shortcomings in Premiere, but Premiere is really not the thing to do this kind of work in. But you can see we got it done. So now if I just turn off my guides and I turn off my safe margin, we take a look from the beginning, we have achieved the impossible in Premiere by duplicating an amazing open. Hi, Mary. I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry it took so long, but this is a lot of concepts that we got to get through. Maybe each part you can try around. There's a big difference between your anchor points on your text or your elements that you create in the Essential Graphics panel and the overall clip, as I showed you in vector motion. Masking, you can either do mask with text if it's simple or kind of work around it like we did. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, thank you so much. You can get really good at Essential Graphics panel. You get away a lot of things, but it really helps to learn After Effects. Trust me, it will help you in the long run. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out pullmyfocus.tv for all our articles that go along with these videos. Also, if you want to become a patron and support the channel, please do at patreon.com/pullmyfocus. Just $1 a month will help us immensely continue to bring these great tutorials and videos. And that's it. You can make it if you try, girl. Nope. Copyright strike. Sorry. Damn it.